ladies and gentlemen, Perot.
I'm honored and privileged to be with all of you today. And another favorite story is we had the mayor of Dallas wanted to have a parade for Vietnam veterans and have from 8 states. This is after the first war in the Middle East. But we had this big parade for all of those veterans from the war, and then I suggested that we have all the Vietnam veterans from those 8 states come too, because we'd never properly thanked them. I talked to all of them, and they basically were pretty negative about it. I said, well, look, just do this for me, will you? Okay, Perot, we did. Well, basically, they showed up. The biggest parade in the history of Dallas. They were all in civilian clothes. The troops in front of them that had fought in the Persian Gulf, of course, were in their uniforms. But when they turned down the parade route, the crowd just went crazy cheering for them, and it's the first time they'd been thanked since the war, and almost 100% of them were crying openly. And I tell you that story, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know that, but the strong welcome home, and not years later, but right when they come home, and appreciation for what all they done means very much. So anyhow, that was interesting, very much. Your lives in the military can be summed up by these words from Isaiah. Here are the words. Who will go? Question mark. Send me, O Lord. That's it. You said that. You go. We send you. In closing, I would like for every citizen to never forget the words spoken by Father O'Brien, a Marine Corps chaplain. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet. It's the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to demonstrate. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. And talking about soldiers and veterans, I have to tell you the story of my companies. I told you about I'd formed 2 companies. When I formed my first company, EDS, it was during the Vietnam War. There was a lack of systems engineers and computer center operators in this new and growing industry. Without question, the best people to bring in the company would be veterans after they had gotten out of the service, coming back from combat. We hired young officers and brought them into EDS, training them as systems engineers. They had college degrees. We found enlisted men who were just as talented, but were determined to take the GI Bill to get a bachelor's degree. We employed them in the computer center where they worked. It's 3 shifts a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They were always there, always getting the job done, but they learned so much during those 4 years about computers while they were getting their bachelor's degree, and they went on to become some of the company's finest leaders and technology people. I'm sure you remember the story about our company building the Social Security system in Iran. When the Shah was thrown out, I was unable to we put all of our senior leaders in prison. The terrorists put 2 of our senior leaders in prison so that none of the other people working on our team could leave the country. And to their credit, all the other members stayed. Now, where did they get that? From being in the military. You follow me? All ex-military, you don't leave your men behind. They said, stay here and we won't kill them. They stayed. I was determined to put our government would do zip, nothing. And didn't even want to talk about it. I called Bull Simons, who had just retired, Colonel Arthur Simons. He was on a farm in Florida. I explained that we needed to help our people with a few soldiers coming back from Vietnam, and would he consider leading the team? And he knew that these soldiers worked in our company. His response was, yeah, I'll do it. He came to Dallas, met with several hundred veterans, and selected what he called the Dirty Dozen. Now, interestingly enough, we had 300 in the room, 300 volunteered to go. Doesn't that say a lot about people like you? You never leave your men behind. He put together a dozen, which is all he wanted. I never could understand that. Took them to Turkey and Iran, and his premise was to get near the prison and wait. He had always liked to get in position and wait. He found an Iranian that he trusted, and had him join the terrorist team so that he could attend the morning meetings where all of the people out on the street, these Iranians out on the street, just tearing everything up. They didn't like what was going on, and they were the terrorists. And he thought if he could harness all that Iranian energy, he would have a free army. So he got one man to work with him on that. I was in Iran with the team, and Simon sent me to the prison to brief the men on how we were going to get them out. He told you to do it. He did it. I walked up to the prison, and there were about 50 cars there, and I thought, oh, somebody's here. I got into the prison and up to the room where you wait for people, and there was Ramsey Clark. Do you remember that name? He was talking to the general that ran the prison, pointing to, and as soon as I came in, he started squinting and pointing to me. General jumped up, came over, shook hands with me. I thought they would arrest me. But you couldn't have been nicer. And then after I got home, Ramsey called, and he'd read about it in the paper. He says, Ross, I thought you were Frank Borman. I said, thank God. So now, Borman's a West Pointer. He doesn't think much of that story. But anytime, so we got through all of that, brought the men out overland, brought every one of them home safely. And this is all because of the people in our company that had served in the military that we were able to do it, and certainly Colonel Simon's leadership. I'm going to tell you one more story. I got all these people working in the computer. Katrina takes place in New Orleans. I hear about it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I run down because I'd heard about all the problems. I got to the office. Everything I was getting ready to do, the third shift computer operators, all people just out of the military, enlisted men, had done everything I had thought of. They had identified each person. They were talking to them over the internet. They had pictures of each person and their children. They had identified each car and the license plate because they were getting ready to come out. They had every cell phone number of everybody, and they were tracking them coming out. They, in the meantime, in the middle of the night, the big hospital, it was our biggest customer there, lost all power. These former enlisted men found an auxiliary generator that it takes an 18-wheeler and his trailer to put it in, put all that together in the middle of the night. 2 of them went down to hook it up at the hospital, and they saved countless lives. And when I came in the next day, everything anybody could think about that was needed to be done had been done. Everybody was safe. The hospital people were taken care of. And it was 100% perfect, all from young enlisted people who were determined to go to college, and that's why they were working third shift. But that tells you another story. As I close here, I want to tell you a quote from Winston Churchill's last speech at the school he attended as a boy. He was going to summarize to the boys what he had learned as one of the greatest men in the 20th century. England waited breathlessly to hear what this old man, whose health was failing, would have to say. When the time came, he approached the podium with considerable effort, his massive frame showing the burdens and pressures of his many years. He stood for what seemed to be an eternity, staring at the students. Some of the audience felt he might not speak. Suddenly his chin thrust forward. He gripped the podium, his eyes flashed, and then he delivered the entire speech. Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never. Now that statement exemplifies your courage, your patriotism, and the lives you've lived. And now I'd like to quote Abraham Lincoln, our president. He says, any nation that does not properly honor its heroes will not long endure. And we're here today to honor you, and you certainly deserve it. Thank you for the sacrifices you make for our country and for your buddies in combat. And thank you for all you have done and continue to do to build and strengthen our country since you've come back to the battlefields. And remember now that the last phrase of the first verse of the Star-Spangled Banner is a question. And here it is. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. As long as our nation has great patriots like all of you, the answer will be a resounding yes. God bless you, and we thank you so much. It's a privilege to be with you. And I know we have families here tonight who've lost their loved ones, and I want to close it with this point. When I am gone, release me, let me go. You mustn't tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had so many years. I gave you my love, and you can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love you each have shown, but now it's time I travel on alone. So grieve a while for me, if grieve you must, then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's just a while that we must part. So bless the memories within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call me, and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I'll be near. And if you listen with your heart, you'll hear all of my love for you, soft and clear. And then when you must come your way alone, I'll greet you with a smile and say, welcome home. Thank you. I'd like you all to join me in three cheers for all of the people who serve the military. I'll say first hip hip in a fairly normal voice. You'll say hooray. I'll raise my voice, you raise yours. And the third time around, we blow the top off the building here. Are you ready? Yeah. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! God bless you. Thank you.
For those of you, by the way, that this is signed by 4 great Americans and veterans. One, the print is signed, which, by the way, a lot of people did not realize that Mr. Perot paid for that statue that you see. But it's signed by General Westmoreland, Admiral Zumwalt, and Ulysses S. Grant Sharp, and General Bruce Palmer, the deputy. They all have passed away, and we want, Mr. Perot, we want to give you this to take back with you because they're all gone, and you have made that possible. And what we would like to do, come on, Ralph, here. We want to get you guys in here. All right, here. Present this to you on behalf of all the Vietnam veterans. Yeah. All right, let's give it a hand. Yeah.
Now, I didn't tell you the story. Do you remember when these 3 men on patrol were way off in a tree? You know, originally we didn't have it. Then I worked tirelessly and we got it. Then they put it, the man that's in charge of the whole thing stuck it off of the tree, and all the vets were upset. I tried everything in the world, nothing worked. I finally went to see President Reagan, told him the story, and he said, I'll take care of it. A few days later, he called the head of the Museum of Modern Art, who was in charge of the whole project, had a nice conversation with him, and the guy was just almost fainting because he was in the president's office. And at the end of the conversation, he says, well, do you really enjoy your job at the Museum of Modern Art? Oh, Mr. President, I just love my job. That went on forever. And when he finished, he got that tough Reagan look on his face. He just hammered his fist down on the desk and says, Do you want to keep your museum job at the Modern Art? I just froze. He says, put the 3 men on patrol where it belongs and cut out the blank, blank, blank. That's how it got there.
Now, one thing, but before we do that, you got one more thing here that you want to give Mr. Perot.
For all he has done for veterans and our military, we thought that we would try to give him something back to remember us by at his home. And it reads, H. Ross Perot, we honor and respect your steadfast support of our military and veterans from the Vietnam and all veterans of Bavard 2011. That is for you.
Thank you so much. But I want you to remember every day that you're on the battlefield, you're taking risk and doing things for our country that are 40 or 50 times what I do, and you are our heroes. Now, if you ever come to my office, you'll see everything like this that I've ever received from the military is out in a prominent hallway. You won't believe the number of public schools that bring buses filled with children to get the tour of all that, and it really inspires them to be what you are. Thank you very much.
Yay! Thank you.
Okay. Now, I would like to do one other thing here, and I had Mr. Perot sign this. Come on, Don. All right. Now, again, this print signed by General Westmoreland, but I had it signed very special. Mr. Perot don't sign a lot of things, but he signed this, and this is to Ralph, signed by Mr. Perot and signed formally by General Westmoreland. All right. And here's also the same thing, so you don't need to redo it, for Don. And I'm going to tell you something. These guys have done a marvelous, marvelous job.
Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! God bless you. Thank you. Y'all join me in 3 cheers for all of the people who serve in the military. I'll say first hip hip in a fairly normal voice. You'll say hooray. I'll raise my voice, you raise yours. And the 3rd time around, we blow the top off the building here. Are you ready? Yeah. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!